friends, strangers, internet. My name is Emily. I love colorful makeup and colorful language. Let's talk about some makeup red flags. Shout out to Colin over at Queer Bones for this video inspiration. Colin did a video recently talking about their makeup marketing red flags, and I left a comment where I was like, I think I need to do this video. I think I need to do it. Here's the thing. I'm a very critical person. I like a good roasty toasty moment. I love makeup. I find marketing and the psychology behind it really interesting. So a lot of times I can kind of parse out why they're doing something, but it might still annoy the fuck out of me. I am also the kind of person that is very much a vibe person when it comes to my feelings about a brand or about a kind of release. And if I just don't feel super into the brand, into the energy that I'm getting, I don't want to say it's just like easy for me to move on, but it is very much a like, oh, okay, I don't really need to pay attention to that brand. Whatever area of the makeup or skincare world they occupy, I probably have a lot of other options that I'm going to look at first before their releases. A lot of times I can see a red flag or see a couple red flags and go, I'm good, I'm out, we're done.
Oh, okay.
If you like people with lots of opinions, like myself, if you like colorful makeup, or you just like cute fat babes, I would love for you to subscribe, and let's jump in. My first couple of red flags kind of are overlapping with Colin because they mentioned the word detox.
My name is Detox.
Ooh, not that one.
That is such a huge red flag for me because your body naturally detoxifies itself.
And I fucking had it.
You don't need things for that. If you do, if your doctor has told you that you need assistance with that, that's different. But in general, you do not need things for that. That is not something that skincare or makeup or whatever is going to do for you.
I've had it.
Or tummy teas.
I agree. I have had it.
If you are a brand that sells tummy teas, whether you sell skincare or other things along with it, or just the tea, no.
You know what I've had?
It.
A lot of my detox feelings are very much tied with my, relationship or divorcing from my relationship with diet culture. So I'm not gonna dwell on it too much, but I just wanna say it is a big red flag because if you are using that for marketing purposes, if you're using that word in general, it just feels off for me and it feels like a fear-mongering thing that I don't like. And another fear-mongering thing that I really don't like, there's a huge red flag for me, are like the chemical fear-mongering. I really don't enjoy clean beauty and skincare as a whole. It is very much a marketing thing. I know that it's kind of hard to avoid with the way Sephora has adjusted their brand guidelines, especially newer brands. It's a red flag for so many reasons. First of all, products that are produced with fewer preservatives are going to expire quicker. While some of us might use up a whole concealer in 6 months, a lot of us wouldn't, and it doesn't just mean people that like me that have like a lot of concealers. In general, I think products should have a longer shelf life than that. And part of the clean wave to me is a way to encourage more spending, more buying. It's not a focus on actually what's better for you. It's just marketing terminology. And especially the science fear-mongering. And I wish I had like examples to show you. And maybe it's like been happening less kind of recently, but I feel like there was this wave of like, you don't want chemicals in your skincare. I want chemicals in my body. Guess what, baby girl? Water is a chemical. I'm gonna refresh my body right now with a fucking chemical. There was a zone of like clean things that really try to get people in this vulnerable mindset of like being afraid of everything in their house, in their medicine cabinet, in their vanity. You should be afraid of the chemicals. And I fucking cannot. I cannot handle it. It's the biggest red flag, the biggest air horn in my face to stay away from that brand. Another thing that is kind of like a language thing that's very much a red flag to me is very gendered language. Not only the very ladies, women kind of energy that like a Charlotte Tilbury brings to the table, but even the like, this is men's skincare, men's makeup. I feel like so many of us who are gender non-conforming, among other labels, have talked about this, where it's like, not only can that feel alienating to me personally, but I feel like you are purposefully making it like more difficult for yourself. The amount of times I've seen in like marketing writing, men and women, guys and gals, he or she. Do you realize instead of saying he or she, you could just say they? They, them, their covers a huge umbrella of people. People or person versus man or woman. It's that purposeful alienation that always makes me feel uncomfortable. I will concede that some brands are just doing it because they're kind of like stuck in the past in a lot of ways, or it's just kind of like their stock standard way of doing it. There are ways that the super gendered language feels very specifically like, you do not belong here. This is not for you. Look, if this is just that you're kind of behind the times or stuck on old, I guess like verbiage, it's time to move forward. And if you're not just stuck on the old verbiage and you are purposefully doing that,
I'm watching you, Wazowski. Always watching.
for me, it's not even about packaging. I can super enjoy a very like frilly or pink or feminine kind of style. I can also enjoy more sleek masculine styles because I even think the feminine masculine clarifications are It's the language. And it's also another red flag, the ableist language. You'll go crazy for this thing. You'll lose your mind. It's so good. There's a lot of language that we English speakers use that is ableist. And I don't expect every brand or every person to know it all, because I don't even know it all. And I also still fuck up all the time. But there are some that feel more obvious that it frustrates me to still see used so often. It's like you can express excitement or disbelief or any of these feelings about how cool or interesting or amazing this new release is without framing it as losing cognitive functioning. Could we not? Also, if you're a brand that has shown your ass about being anti-abortion, red flag. Even the indies. Also, if you're shown that you are transphobic, also red flag. Even the indies. Next one up. Skincare and makeup. This kind of goes with clean beauty because I feel like this also happened during the rise of like clean beauty. Yet again, I think it feeds into that framework of everything will be different because of this thing. Because I do think that marketing has convinced a lot of us that the more skincare we use, the better our skin will be. So if you get rid of all your makeup and buy makeup that's all infused with skincare, then your skin has got to be amazing, right? No. That's not how that works. Depending on your situation, this might all sound very immature to you, but it's real. Like the marketing works. And it's not necessarily for me as much of an issue, but the way I see people talk about their skin and skincare and makeup and all of that, especially if you have acne-prone skin or you have other skin issues, it's a really tender, vulnerable spot to kind of target. And so this whole skincare-infused makeup thing, not only do I think I think it often makes the makeup worse. I also think it like makes your makeup more prone to going bad quicker because there could be actives in there. There can be things in there that kind of create more of a ground for stuff to happen bacterially. So many of these products just feel like less good versions. The two things put together is a less good version of what you actually want.
Meh.
Mystery boxes. Mystery boxes are a red flag.
So many things fit inside my box!
Because so many of the brands that use mystery boxes either are using it in a very cyclical way to get rid of old product.
This is a petite box! I don't think it's Michelle's!
Beautiful lucky bag, I'm looking at you.
Boxes!
It feels very much like we know why you're doing what you're doing, but we're somehow still stuck in the trap of buying them. I just don't like it. I don't like that brands do it. I think that the one-off or every so often use of them is kind of what it is. But I think in general, like, I think a dependence on them is a red flag. Brands that are afraid of color are very much a red flag for me. And I don't inherently just mean makeup. If your brand line is neutral, if that's what you want to focus on, then like, fine, do it. That's your choice. But a lot of these brands that seem more afraid of color, a lot of these brands where if you look at the Instagram, it's very beige white in tone. It's also very beige white in employees and in customers. If you cannot make or choose not to make makeup that is going to look as beautiful on a range of skin tones as it does on your NC15 to NC40, red flag. I was trying to avoid the gloss, but I'm going to gloss up. I filmed this whole video before and didn't realize I was not recording, so my lips are a little worse for wear. This one might get me in trouble. Y'all might not like this one. But a big red flag for me is when a brand does a release that looks like it should be a collaboration with a licensed piece of intellectual property, but it's not.
You bottom feeders! You don't even know talent!
Here's the thing. You want to do a collection that's inspired by sparkly vampires. You want to do a collection that's inspired by wizards. You want to do a collection that's inspired by sharks. There are ways to do that that will hearken to the media that inspired you, that will grab those Twilight fans because they see it, that will grab those Jaws fans because they see it. There are ways to do that without making it look like a bad Xerox photocopy of an IP collab. Also, yes, that noise is happening outside. And I think that a brand choosing to take images, artwork, to make artwork based on media, to create packaging based on media that is so close, or that they have even named it after that. So you know what they're doing, but it's not actually a licensed collection. It is such a red flag for me. It makes me question the morals of the brand. It makes me question a lot about the brand's motives. There is, on one hand, a perspective of like, well, I'm a small brand. They don't have the, like, who's gonna take the time and attention to worry about the, I don't know, $1,000 I'm gonna make off of this one release? There's that, which is still a flawed perspective. Trademarks, copyrights, all these things that I don't have enough brain power to explain. The point is that they have to defend those things and protect those pieces of intellectual property. But then I also feel like there's and there's more than just these two perspectives, but these are my two examples. There's also the perspective of like, it'll be fine. It's changed to no, it's not like, I'll be fine. I feel like there was a flippancy of like, we're just gonna see what happens. We're just gonna try it and see what happens.
If that's a veiled criticism about me, I won't hear it and I won't respond to it.
And then you have to change the palette artwork on all of your products because something happens behind the scenes. Like, it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't make me feel confident in you as a brand. And the other thing that I think about all the time is that makeup is a creative medium. There are millions and billions of pieces of inspiration out in the world that you could pull from to build an entire brand off of, to build a collection from. There is so much inspiration. There's so many beautiful things that exist in the world, whether we're talking about big themes like mermaids, vampires, werewolves, witches. I'm talking very fantasy right now. Whether it's an artistic theme, looking at nature, like so many different ways that you could be inspired. That to do it in that way, where I can't tell if it's legit or if it's kind of trying to skirt by, but they're trying to grab at your heartstrings if you're a fan of that IP. Shady. It feels shady. So this last red flag, y'all also might not like.
They want an encore. Stand aside, SpongeBob.
Brands that do these cycles of pre-order on a limited edition product to a new pre-order on a different limited edition product, those hype cycles are red flags to me. Pre-orders have become a very popular, very common way of running an indie, in particular an indie makeup business. So I'm not shocked or frustrated or whatever when I see pre-orders. The things that I get frustrated by are brands that are doing only pre-order, but the releases are also kind of limited. So by the time all of the pre-orders have been delivered, the product is no longer available. And by the time all of Palette One's pre-orders have been delivered, the brand is already talking about pre-order on Palette 2, or that cycle has already started. By the time all of Palette 1 has been delivered, there is new hype being built on Palette 2 that is on pre-order. And then by the time Palette 2 gets delivered, now pre-order hype being built on Palette 3, and some brands are thriving or surviving off of this cycle. Here's the thing. It's not giving people a chance to see this palette in action, to see swatches, to see people more than just PR receivers, which I do not have any hate towards people that are getting a PR. It's a very important and necessary part of this business model. But when you are a consumer and you're like, I don't know if I have $60, $70, $80 to spend on this palette. I don't know if I have that. But you know, I know 5 people through the internet that have picked it up. And so when they get it, maybe they'll do videos, maybe they'll do Instagram posts, whatever. But then, because this brand has moved on to a new palette, as creators, we don't feel compelled to necessarily create videos or reels or photos or whatever on that product because the hype is gone. For me as a creator, I'm not buying on hype. I'm buying if I really want something and I have access to it and money to it. But for some creators, they don't necessarily know that this brand is going to do this hype cycle. And then, you know, a month, 2, 3, 6 months later, when they finally get the product and they see the way the community and the industry has evolved, they're like, oh, well, never mind. I'm going to use it myself, but like, I'm not going to focus on, you know, making any content with this because it's not really that big of a deal anymore.
Plus, viewers are simply less likely to watch videos on older releases, even when they're asking for them. So the payoff for older product videos is just not there for most review creators.
It's just a little bit manipulative on the consumer. It's a little bit frustrating to watch. I want to see swatches on lots of different people, on different skin tones, different lighting, see how it performs on the eyes, see the kind of looks people do, how they pair the colors together. I love seeing all that stuff. I just don't think that that cycle is, the cycle can be really good for the brands, but I think it's pretty fucked up for the consumers. Flashback to when I used to film on my phone. My camera battery died. I'm in the midst of trying to find money to buy more camera batteries. So we're just gonna finish this on my phone, okay? Great, we're on the same page. The point I was getting to is that we as consumers do owe ourselves the responsibility or the respect to really like think about if we want something, if we want it with the pre-order. Is it limited edition? Like, is limited edition the reason we are buying it? Is limited edition a reason maybe we don't want to buy it? It is on us. It is on us to make those decisions. But there is a community and kind of industry hype cycle with this process that is, it's toxic. If brands continue on this road, I do think I've seen it. I've seen people get jaded and get frustrated and feel just annoyed by it all. I understand as a business owner how powerful being able to produce on pre-order or sell on pre-order is. But I think that as a brand, if you are becoming dependent or continuing to use that as your crutch to continue to exist as a brand, you should take a look at that and perhaps reconsider. You might not be doing your customers justice, and your customers are why you exist. Anyway, I have unfortunately been not filming and filming for a very long time. So on that note, I'm gonna go. I would love to hear your red flags in the comments. And if you're a creator and you feel inspired to make a video about this, I would also love to see your video. As I mentioned in the intro, I will have Colin Queerbones tagged in the description box, and I will have their video linked there as well. Thank you again for the inspo. Thank you again to my patrons and my channel members for keeping this boat afloat. If you feel so inspired, I would love to see you over on Patreon or in the channel membership. But most importantly, take care of yourself better today than you did yesterday, because you are worth it. Bye, friends. Guess who just filmed a whole video but didn't film it because they didn't press the right button? I would be surprised if my battery holds out for this. Let's try it. Let's try this again. I did it. My fucking goddamn shit, bitch, motherfucker! God, I haven't filmed on my phone in so long. I'm not gonna say it's embarrassing, but it is a little embarrassing.